Hey everybody, Kyrie091 hanging out with you. Boy oh boy, are we going to have big fun today playing some more Final Fantasy Tactics. So I'm just going to give you a heads up, this is going to be a really boring episode. We're not going to do any battles, we're not going to do any formation, we are just going to cover some backstory. If you're not as interested in the story and it's not important to you that you know 100% of how this game works and all the characters and all the crazy stuff, you can seriously skip this episode. It's gonna be boring. But if you do want to know this game front to back, inside and out, and everything about the crazy, super, amazing story that comes with Final Fantasy Tactics, then strap in, because this is gonna be a fun of a ride here. So, let's take a look. So, you know the treasures we get from those fun little quests, like the little jobs, and they're all references to older Final Fantasy games like this one that belong to Minyu, Mingwu, or Min, whatever the hell you want to call them from Final Fantasy II. Anyways, we got this one here called the Germonic Scriptures. We just received this from Simon. We can read the book itself here, and we're going to do that now. This is going to take a while. It's a pretty long read. I'll read it for you. I picked up the Germonic Scriptures Simon gave me and flipped through the pages. The text was in an ancient holy script with drawings in places. It was damaged and hard to read. I wondered what was written in it. Then, I saw some words in a language I recognized. Somebody had written some notes in the Ikoku language. Okay. Who could have done it? That's a great question. Judging from the ink, the older notes were written years ago. But the newer ones were written only days ago. It smudged when I rubbed it. Okay. The ink was not yet dry. They were written by the same person. So the older notes and the newer notes were written by the same person, and apparently it was Simon who had been slowly translating this book over the years. Tried reading it by referring to his partial notes. It says, "This is written by a follower of Saint Ajora, Germonic." Germonic? I'd heard that name before. Must have been in history class. Then it came to me. Germonic was the disciple who betrayed Saint Ajora by selling him to the Eudora Empire. It was amazing. Germonic's book was even still in existence. Calming myself, I turned the pages. Then, I found something more amazing than the historical legacy in my hands. I thought Germonic compiled Saint Ajora's words in this book. But I was wrong. It's a record of Saint Ajora's activities. That's interesting. And not the Saint Ajora we know. A record of Ajora the human. First off, Saint Ajora is not human. I'm not a true believer in Glabados like Zalbag. But I do believe Saint Ajora was a child of God, sent from heaven to save this troubled world. Rather, I should say, I did believe until I read this book. Okay, this is getting interesting. It was the Golden Age, when many airships flew all over the sky. See, that's funny, is that their history, they have a history of machines, but in present day Ivalice, they don't really have them. That's why Gaug Machine City is such a mysterious place, because they find all these old machines underground and they don't know what they do. They just find like crazy looking contraptions. The day Saint Ajora was born in Brevenia of Lasalia, he stood up, walked to the well, and said, "Calamity will come from this well soon. We must seal it so people don't drink the water." Okay? Days later, plague swept over Brevenia. The people who drank the tainted water died. But the only family who believed him didn't get sick and survived. Okay? Since then, people called him a miracle child. Child of God. When Saint Ajora turned 20, he became a savior and was sent to heaven as a member of God. That's a weird thing to say. Long before Ivalice was united, it was divided into 7 small kingdoms. Lithenia, Fovoham, Lionel, Limbury, Lasalia, Gallion, and Muronde. We should be somewhat familiar with all of those. Zeltenia is the one in the far east, where Goltana is from. Galleon is where Larg is from. Fovoham is in the north. That's actually kind of where we're heading right now. To Riovane's castle. It's in Fovoham. Lionel is where Lionel Castle is. Limbury is where Marquis Elmdor is from. Lasalia is where the imperial capital is. And Maronde we haven't heard much about yet. As the kingdoms continued to increase their territories, the wars continued. In the several hundred years of war, an ambitious young king was born in Maronde. Though he led an army large enough to cover Ivalice, the way to victory was long and hard. Using the secret method from an ancient book, the king tried to summon an evil spirit and use its power. But the evil spirit killed the king and tried to destroy the world. Uh-oh. One brave with 12 followers collected zodiac stones from all over the world and revived them. They destroyed evil in an instant and succeeded in sending the evils back to Hades. This is how they became saviors. That's the Zodiac Braves legend. Ever since, every time the world is in danger, they appear, save the world, and disappear. When Saint Ajor was alive, similar things occurred. The king of Limbury summoned an evil spirit to take over Ivalice. The world once again fell into crisis. Saint Ajor collected 12 holy stones, just like the legend, formed the Zodiac Braves, and killed the evil. Okay? But heroes are always a nuisance to rulers of a country. The Eudora Empire was afraid of Ajora, who was gaining power, announcing the arrival of God's kingdom. Eudora sent troops against one of his sects. The priest of Farah, I don't know what that's all about, the largest sect, were afraid of Saint Ajora's power. He was caught and executed at Golgrand execution grounds after Germonik told of his whereabouts for money. Golgrand execution site, that's where they were going to execute the princess, boy. But Saint Ajor was a child of God, and the priests of Farah were smitten by an angry god. After the execution, the base at Farah, Maronde, sunken by various natural disasters. This is how Saint Ajor was sent to heaven as a child of God, okay? And became a member of God. Got it. And that's all I know. All anyone in Ikoku knows of the myth of Saint Ajor. But the Saint Ajor in the Germanic scriptures was a totally different person. Ajora was not a child of God, but a human just like us. An ambitious revolutionary who fought to fulfill his dream. Moreover, he loved peace and was not a hero who risked his life for others. Wow! This is what Germonik wrote. A founder of an advanced new religion, Ajora was a threat to the empire. But Ajora had another side to him, other than being a priest. He was a spy who entered enemy territory, agitating and gaining information. Wow, dude. Crazy. Anyhow, Ajora was a threat to the empire. The empire sent Germonik to find proof that Ajora was a spy. Yes, Germonik was also a spy of the empire, watching Ajora's activities, so Germonik wasn't a loyal disciple, he was a spy. They say Ajora tried to revive the Zodiac Braves. Germonik found some holy stones to prove it. But what does that have to do with Reformation? I don't know. I don't know if young King Limbury really summoned an evil spirit. At least, nothing is written about it in the book. However, it's a fact that Maronde met with natural disaster and sunk into the sea at the time of Ajora's death. So that happened. Maronde did sink underwater. This is where Simon's notes were most interesting. They appeared to be his personal opinion. Despite rumors of its existence, no one ever saw the Germanic scriptures. I don't know whether the book tells the truth or fabricates Ajora's great achievements. When I was a heresy examiner for the church, many examiners felt afraid to show the people the book. The high priest probably felt the same because everything the book said was true. After Ajora's death, the church had to unite Saint Ajor with God, making him divine. To do that, Unsuitable facts had to be deleted from history, and Saint Ajori had to become a child of God. Okay, I see where they're going with this. They were wise to use the Zodiac Brave story. Widely believed in Ikoku. Okay. It was easy to make people believe the Zodiac Braves led by Ajora were killed in an imaginary something. Evil spirit. When I read this book, I lost my faith. But I'm not sad, because it inspired me to search for the truth. At the same time, I'm guilty for not bringing it to light, even though I knew the church was lying. Why? Because if I told people about the book, I was afraid they would take the library away from me. Oh boy. I see. That's kind of selfish. I would have been devastated if the library is taken away from me, because it satisfied my thirst for knowledge. Pretty darn selfish, Simon. But my curiosity got the best of me. Simon spoke of an imaginary evil, but I sense a scheme by someone other than the High Priest. After seeing the berserk power of the Holy Stones. So there you go. That's the Germonic scriptures. Let's look at the Minu Orb again. Isn't that neat? Let's look at our unexplored lands. Pandemonium. The former capital of the ancient Paramikia Empire, surrounded by a mountain range of 9,000. Even airships couldn't access it. The only way to reach the city was a corridor that passed through hell. Paramikia Empire? What game is that from? Anyway, we're done with this episode. I just wanted to read the Germonic scriptures, but real quick I'm going to go over formation with you, so next time we'll just jump right into the next fight. So, Rams is a samurai. How much JP does he have as a samurai? I might want to buy him a skill here. 325. I want him to learn Kiyomori. That's a cool one. This one's good too. But Kiyomori is really good. I also like to get two hands. That's a great skill. The other job changes. Agrius is now a thief, but I did give her equipped sword, so she can still use the holy sword ability. I made her a monk for a 1 battle as a monk. Just long enough to get her to level 5 as a monk, which helped to unlock some things. So Agrius was a monk for a little while. I got her counter, and that was all I got. She still has 600 JP to spend. McNeil's a geomancer. I think that's what we had settled on last time. I need to get him some geomancy skills here. Well, where are we going next? Maybe Pitfall? Yeah, Pitfall. And maybe Local Quake. I think that's the rocky one. Although some of these other ones seem kind of... What's Gusty Wind all about? Roof? No. Blizzard for snow. There's hardly any snow maps in the game. What's Demon Fire all about? Wooden floor. I think Local Quake's what I want. Okay. Ingram's a bard. Still, that hasn't changed. It's not going to change until he gets move +3. And even then, I'll probably leave him as a bard a while longer. But the biggest thing is Angelica's a priest. And I'm actually really liking having her as a priest. I got Raise 2, which it revives your ally, revives a person, but it also fills their HP up all the way. So Raise 2, pretty cool. Protected Shell, also cool. And that, I'm going to leave her as a priest for a while. I've never really made good use of priests. I think it'd be fun. At some point, I'm actually thinking... Look at this, 666 Geomancer points. At some point, I'm thinking about making her back into an Oracle and putting some of these debuff spells to work, because I've never really used them either. I did get rid of her Wizard Robe, which was a hard thing for me to do, because the Wizard Robe adds +2 to magic, where the White Robe just halves fire, lightning, and ice, so if anyone casts a spell on her, she'll be okay. Gave him some Bloody Strings. These are pretty cool. It doesn't actually say it in the description there, but these absorb health from enemies. When you hit them with that, it absorbs health, so they're pretty cool. McNeil, our Geomancer, has 2 swords. He has a Sleep Sword and an Ancient Sword. Sleep Sword inflicts sleep. Ancient Sword inflicts don't move. He also has 2 things to increase his physical attack power. The Twist Headband adds 2, and the Power Sleeve also adds 2. Pretty cool. Agrius, you already know about. She also has a Twist Headband and the Power Sleeve. And Ramza, you already know about too. That's about the long and short of it for this episode, guys. Next time, I promise we're going to actually move forward with the storyline. we are going to head up to Grog Hill to try to make our way up to Riovane's castle, which is where... Why are we going to Riovane's again? Oh, why? Oh, that's right. That's where Alma is. When we ran into that wizard, a guy who just said Exotic Wizard was his name. We ran into him in Dorter Trade City, and he said that we had to go to Riovane's castle to get Alma back. So we're heading up to Riovane's just to get Alma. Be sure to join us for all the big fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry this episode is pretty boring. Next time we'll get back to real action, I promise. Bye.